Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DDG94 here, back with another reaction video. Today, we're going to react to what those hidden characters look like. So, dude, we talking about old girl from the Powerpuff Girls, the mom and dad from Cow and Chicken, Wizard Kelly from fucking Proud Family. Yeah, those characters, the ones that face be hidden the whole time. Anyways, though, without further ado, let's get right into it.
We all have watched those cartoons with characters that are always just out of frame. Maybe it's a parent who's just a pair of legs, a villain who's always in shadow, or cameras always managing to cut away the moment their face is about to be revealed. These characters became iconic because the mystery made them memorable. Because guys, let's be honest here. As a kid, how many times had we thought, if only we had a bigger screen, we'd see Mammy Two Shoes' face or almost all the adults in Peanuts?
Ms. Halverson, could you repeat our assignment? Write a 500-word theme on what we did this summer?
And sometimes, the showrunners decide to give us a reveal, a special episode, or a blink and miss scene where we finally get to see what these characters actually look like. From villains whose faces remained a mystery for decades, to beloved supporting characters who somehow became icons without ever being fully shown, today we are looking at what these hidden cartoon characters actually look like. Let's start things off with the most bizarre characters on our list, Cow and Chicken's parents from Cow and Chicken. You see, for almost 50 episodes, Mom and Dad existed only from the waist down. It was one of the most absurd committed running gags in 1990s animation, and it became the show's signature joke. Every time the two of them appeared on screen, the camera stopped at their hips, and the viewers were left with nothing but two pairs of legs wearing socks and shoes. The dad wore green pants and brown loafers. He boasted about his manliness constantly, claiming that even the most ordinary tasks, like driving in the snow for example, brought out the man in him. And his wife, Mom, was a stereotypical housewife, at least from the waist down. She wore a white dress with red polka dots, red shoes, and a yellow apron. From preparing strange food for her children to giving them stranger advice, she was completely insane, just like her husband.
Sometimes I question their sanity.
But here's the thing, they were just legs, but drove cars, cooked food, answered doors. Dad was even playing golf in one of the episodes. And that's not all. There's no mouth, but they are able to speak perfectly fine. The show never really explained it, and honestly, it didn't have to, because at the end of the day, it was a no-brainer cartoon show. It was one of those visual gags that you don't question as a kid, but one day, while you're getting nostalgic about childhood cartoon shows, you're reminded of it, and it is impossible to ignore. And that's not because the dad is a walking or leg-standing bundle of toxic masculinity and delusion. In one episode, he woke his kids up at 3 a.m. just to tell them about his and Mom's story of meeting.
You kids ever hear the story of how your mom and me met?
He has no idea where Cow came from, once claiming she was born in a cabbage.
I was born in a vegetable.
That was the best cabbage we ever had!
Mom is equally unhinged. She is sensitive and over-the-top emotional. Both of them exist in a state of cheerful insanity, which kind of matches the absurd world their children inhabit.
Whoa! What a manly chair!
My turn. Looky, Mama, this new chair gives milk.
For almost the entire series, the viewers never saw their faces or upper bodies in this case. There was this question whether the creators had even designed Mom and Dad beyond their legs. But then in the episode, Cow and Chicken Reclining, Chicken was searching through a closet when he pulled out two things that stopped fans in their tracks. And those things were the upper halves of Mom and Dad. Although the viewers might have expected a more conventional reveal rather than Chicken just holding the torsos, for a tiny moment they could finally see what the parents looked like. Dad was a balding man with a long face, while Mom had orange hair and a friendly smile. They're the upper halves of Mom and Dad. After years of mystery, the reveal is over almost as quickly as it begins. Before anyone could process what they were seeing, Cow immediately called them his science project.
My science project.
And just like that, the show left the viewers wondering if those were the actual upper bodies, or was it really Cow's science project? The show moved on like nothing unusual happened, leaving fans to debate whether Mom and Dad's faces were genuinely revealed, or was it just another surreal joke? Because if you don't know, that's exactly how Cow and Chicken operated. And speaking of hidden faces that took forever to finally get a glimpse of, the next character on our list is the secretary who is the real brains behind the mayor of Townsville. You see, for 10 whole years, Mrs. Cerebellum was the gold standard of the hidden face mystery. She was the loyal secretary of the mayor, or the brains behind the man, as he himself called her. An ally of the Powerpuff Girls, she was the one who was actually running Townsville while the mayor kept on fumbling with his jar of pickles, and he knew it. Mrs. Bellum was everywhere, answering phones, solving crises, calming down the mayor.
The fact that she even existed in a kid show was crazy. Then again, this was the 90s, early 2000s, bruh. She would not exist in a cartoon today, bruh. She was way too over-sexualized, bruh. Freaky ass character.
You's a freaky ass nigga!
And I like it.
Doing it all in her red dress and matching heels. And she was supposedly gorgeous. Like, the whole Townsville talked about how beautiful she was, but we never got to see what they were all going on about because, well, we never saw her face. Miss Bellum would walk into a room and a door frame would block her face, or her massive curly red hair would get in the way, or like a filing cabinet would conveniently appear at the exact moment that she was about to turn around. It was so consistent that you couldn't help but wonder if it was intentional. And, well, it was. Because according to the showrunner, Craig McCracken, the height difference between the mayor and Miss Bellum made it impossible to fit both of them in the same frame. For years, the series stuck to that rule, but in the 10th anniversary special called The Powerpuff Girls Rule, the animators finally decided to give the viewers a glimpse. For a single frame, literally like 2 or 3 seconds, the viewer saw her eye, her chin, her lips, and that's it. One eye, some red lipstick, a rounded chin, half a face, and then it was gone. Now, fans were disappointed, but after that episode, they never saw Miss Bellum's full face. Now, before we get to paper bags and beanies, we gotta go back to where it all started. Right? The OG character who became iconic without ever showing her face. Tom's original owner, Mammy Two Shoes, was seen for the first time in the 1940 Puss Gets the Boot, the very first Tom and Jerry cartoon. Back then, Tom was called Jasper and Jerry was called Jinx.
Jasper!
It's racist ass shit. It was racist, bro. Y'all know it. Y'all know it was. Come on now.
That's racist! That's racist! That's racist!
No good cat. Just a minute, you good-for-nothing cheap fur coat.
Yeah, that's how old we're getting here. Mammy was a middle-aged woman who ran the house where Tom, Jasper, lived. Now, we don't know if she was the owner or the housekeeper, but she had a room and was always in charge. We'll just say that. All viewers saw were her slippers and apron as she'd tell Tom to behave in her booming voice, right? The moment she shouted, "Thomas!" the viewers knew what was coming next. A broom, a frying pan, and an egg on the cat's head. She was always warning him that she'd boot him out of the house if she ever caught him misbehaving, which she did thanks to Jerry's continuous sabotage. And hold on, talking about Jerry, she was constantly afraid of him, or mice in general, and always jumped to a high spot like a chair whenever she saw one. Mammy Two Shoes appeared in 19 cartoons over 12 years, from Puss Gets the Boot, to the Bowling Alley Cat, to Baby Puss and Springtime for Thomas. And yet, the viewers only ever saw her from the waist down. A dress, an apron, and slippers was Mammy Two Shoes' entire identity. And just with that, she became one of the most recognizable characters in the cartoon world. In a few rare shots, like Part-Time Pal, A Mouse in the House, and Mouse Cleaning, Mammy's head was visible. Then came Saturday Evening Puss in 1950, where Mammy's face was shown for a second as she was racing down the streets in a navy blue dress, kicking off dust and debris, trying to get to the house as soon as possible because she had gotten a report that there was a party happening in her absence. That's it, and she was gone. By 1952, Mammy Two Shoes was retired from the series. The NAACP had been protesting the character since 1949, arguing that she was a harmful racial stereotype. As television broadcasts evolved, many of her appearances were edited, redubbed, or even reanimated with a different character entirely. Eventually, she disappeared from new Tom and Jerry productions altogether. So yeah, it's a complicated legacy here. I mean, on one hand, Mammy Two Shoes was voiced by Lillian Randolph, a well-known African-American character actress, but on the other hand, she was based on the Mammy archetype, a stereotype that modern audiences rightfully find offensive. But come on, there's no denying how iconic she was. But talking about Tom's owner, Mammy Two Shoes, she wasn't actually the only one whose face was hidden, because when the cartoon got a modern revival, the tradition continued with a new owner named Ginger. In 2014, the Tom and Jerry show brought the classic cat and mouse duo back on our screens into a modern setting, and with them came the new owner, a woman named Ginger. She was tall and slim, dressed up in a white shirt, pink short jeans, and peacock-colored flats. Now, unlike his previous owners, she actually cared about Tom, and even though her husband Rick saw him as a nuisance, she was kind to him. She even named Tom after her father, who was a hunter by profession. Now, as you can tell already, a lot had changed between 1940 and 2014, but one thing remained: hidden faces of Tom's owner. The showrunners knew that the mystery of Tom's owner was part of the franchise's identity, so they kept it going. Rick's face was never revealed, but for a single moment, we could see Ginger's. In the episode Tap Cat, the show goes into a flashback where the viewer saw Ginger as a child. She had orange hair, explained her name, and used to tap dance a lot as a kid. The episode revolved around her her old tap shoes, which Tom wears accidentally, and becomes a tap dance fanatic. That brief flashback was the only time Ginger's face was shown in the series, just like Mammy Two Shoes. But Mammy's face remained hidden because of the racial politics of 1940s America, while Ginger's hidden face was a deliberate callback to the classic Tom and Gary gag. Did I just say Gary? Okay, sorry. Tom and Jerry gag. While Tom's owners kept their faces hidden as tradition, our next character took face hiding to another level. It was tough being a kid in an orange parka over in South Park. Now, if you have ever watched South Park, you know Kenny McCormick for two things: his deaths and his muffled words. Kenny is kind, but one of the strangest characters in South Park's history, and that's saying something for a show built on absurdity. He's just a poor kid with unstable, alcoholic parents, and he's almost always wearing that orange parka with the hood pulled up so tight that
And he always dies. He always dies. He always dies.
Oh my god! They killed Kenny! You bastard! Oh my god! You killed Kenny! Oh my god! They killed Kenny! You bastard!
He always dies. But hey, he comes back. As we all know, his face reveal came in the movie. Yeah.
we can only see his eyes. That tight hood also made his voice muffled, which is probably for the best, because the things he says are usually pretty vulgar. And that hood stayed on for the first 4 seasons, whether he was in school, or riding a bike, or waddling through Colorado snow, or getting hit by buses or crushed by space stations. That hood never moved an inch. Even Kenny's multiple deaths couldn't do them part. The first time viewers saw Kenny's full face was in South Park, bigger, longer, and uncut.
Goodbye, you guys.
In the climax, Kenny sacrifices himself to save the world from eternal damnation. As he is saying goodbye to Stan, Kyle, and Cartman, he finally pulls back that hood and reveals his face for the first time. And honestly, we saw a regular kid with blonde hair who, well, pretty much looked like the rest of the South Park gang. After the movies, Kenny occasionally appeared without his hood. In The Tooth Fairy's Tats 2000, he is pulled completely out of his parka, flying naked through the air for a split second. In Super Best Friends, a cult shaves everyone's heads and the viewers see his face again. He also appeared without the hood in Lil Crime Stoppers and The Jeffersons. But South Park wasn't done with the hidden face trope, because just when the fans got used to Kenny's face, the show brought a mystery character on board. In season 14, South Park introduced a superhero named Mysterion, a vigilante who wore a purple mask and cape and fought crime in South Park. He quickly became the park's version of Batman, and naturally, everyone wanted to know who he was, what he looked like. At the end of The Raccoon, and I know it's not actually called The Raccoon, but your boy doesn't want to get canceled, Mysterion unmasks himself. But the way South Park characters are drawn with their simple eyes, lack of noses, and tiny mouths, he looked like almost any of Mr. Garrison's 4th grade students. The reveal was hilarious for everyone except the audience. The park residents instantly recognized him, while the viewers were left in the dark. But the 3rd episode of the arc, Mysterion Rises, finally reveals the identity of Mysterion. It was Kenny under that mask with a question mark, and his superpower was immortality. And yeah, you know what? That explains his multiple deaths across the whole series, let's be honest. I mean, every time he died, he literally just woke up in his bed after some time, and nobody ever remembered him dying.
Dude, Kenny, what'd you run away for? We gotta fight these guys! Yeah, come on, get your costume on, lazy ass! Let's go! Met Berry Crunch!
For a character who was written off as just another kid in South Park, Kenny somehow managed to make every reveal worth the wait. Our next character's face, though, was hidden because the animators ran out of paper trying to draw him. Yep, that's right. One of the richest men in the Proud Family universe, Wizard Kelly is the mayor of Emilyville, California. He is a famous basketball player, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and an eccentric billionaire who appeared regularly on the show, but from the chin down. Every time Wizard Kelly walked into a scene, the viewers saw his expensive suit, his massive build, and the lower part of his head, but his his eyes were always cropped out of the shot. It didn't matter whether he was talking to Oscar Proud, giving a speech in the middle of a crowded room, the top of his face somehow just never fit inside the frame. The creator, Bruce W. Smith, said that Kelly was so tall that he ran out of paper while designing him. In the episode Sister Spice, one could make out Wizard Kelly's features. And then in the Proud Family movie, when a massive wave of peanut butter sweeps through a stadium and some of it lands on Wizard Kelly and Uncle Bobby, for a split second, the camera angle shifts just enough that the viewers were able to see his face. But this reveal was just so fast that the mystery of how Wizard Kelly looked stayed alive. Smith even came out and claimed it wasn't the wizard in that scene. It was just his stunt double. Like, come on, a stunt double for a cartoon? What are we saying here, you know? But let's just move on from the character whose
I could have sworn there was an episode where his face was shown.
face couldn't fit on paper to the one who hid his face under a paper bag. Now, if Wizard Kelly was the epitome of success, Bucky McBadbat is defined by his failure. Bucky is Chester's father in The Fairly Odd Parents, a single dad living in poverty with his son in a trailer park in Dimsdale, and the entire identity revolves around being the worst baseball player in history. He is unemployed, broke, and constantly harassed by angry fans who still haven't forgiven him for his disastrous career. His mailbox gets blown up and he's constantly shunned by society. The shame is so overwhelming that he feels the need to always wear a paper bag over his head to hide his face. Unlike the other characters on our list, Bucky's hidden face was not a mystery for the viewers. It was actually a shield for himself, a way to cope with his failure. He was not hiding from the audience, he was hiding from the world around him. Then came the season 5 episode, Fairy Idol, where Chester used a wish from Norm the Genie for his family to be rich and famous.
But I can. What if instead of him being the worst baseball player ever, I wished he was the best?
And then I was free to go to Fairy World for a week while you lived your new life?
Whatever that means, sure!
Okay, but just remember, it was your idea.
Damn.
The wish works, Chester's family moves from the trailer park to a mansion, and Bucky becomes muscular and successful. He becomes confident enough to take the bag off his head, and we finally see what he looked like. He and Chester looked remarkably alike, with same face structure, same blonde eyebrows, and green eyes. A normal looking guy with some crooked teeth, Bucky was just a regular man who had been hiding from his own reflection for years. But Norm's magic was not everlasting, and the wish backfired almost immediately. Bucky ran out of money, lost his mansion, and the custody of his son Chester. And if that was not bad enough, he was hauled off to a federal jail. Norm becomes Chester's temporary fairy godparent and restored the McBadbats' life to normal, which meant Bucky got out of the jail, regained Chester's custody, but was once again back to being an ashamed celebrity with a paper bag for face. I mean, but hey, at least he was free, right? Now, from a father who hid his face out of shame, we go to another father who kept his face hidden for a very different reason. Because without revealing it, he became one of the most intimidating villains Cartoon Network ever created. For most of Codename Kids Next Door, Father was a terrifying silhouette. He was a completely black figure with a bright red outline, yellow eyes, and a pompadour hairstyle. He lived at a delightful mansion from down the lane with his brainwashed delightful children from down the lane. He had supernatural powers, from shooting fireballs to building a wall of fire around himself. He could even burst into flames when angry.
That's it! That little meatball has caused me enough grief. This ends now!
Father was the ultimate enemy of the kids next door, wanting to destroy children so that adults could rule the world. His face was never shown, just those bright yellow eyes that made him look genuinely sinister. In Operation Zero, the fans finally got to know Father's true identity.
Damn.
His name was Benedict Uno, and he was the brother of Monty Uno, Number Zero, and the uncle of Number One himself. And without his dark shadow, he is just a regular man wearing black pants, white shirt with a black bow tie. He has a pointed chin, a pointed nose, and red-rimmed glasses, which make him look a bit nerdy, but completely ordinary. So how exactly did this, awkward-looking man become the terrifying villain that we all know? Well, as a child, Benedict was a coward and terrified of his own father, grandfather. When his brother Monty Uno decided to rebel against their father, Benedict was too afraid to join. But what made him vengeful was that grandfather still considered Monty his favorite son. Father decided to stay back and follow the footsteps of grandfather to win his approval. He took up his father's mantle, wore his silhouette suit, and vowed to destroy the kids next door. He created the Delightfulization Chamber, a device that turned children into mindlessly obedient servants. Those delightful children from down the lane, they were once normal kids from Sector Z. Benedict had spent his whole life in his brother's shadow, and he couldn't stand it. So he became the opposite opposite of everything Monty stood for. The face reveal in Operation Zero didn't just show the viewers what he looked like, it also showed who he really was under all that fire and shadow. A scared little boy who wanted to please his father, a man who chose evil because he was too afraid to choose good. And that brings us to the last character on our list whose reveal wasn't just shocking, it was actually kind of heartbreaking, because sometimes the face you've been wanting to see turns out to be the one you should have been running from. For the entire run of Ed, and Eddie, if there was one character who looked larger than life without ever coming on screen, was Eddie's older brother. Eddie was constantly talking about him, how he was a master of everything.
Great fucking finale, though. Say what you want, but that's a great fucking finale, bro. To Ed and Eddie, bro. That was a great fucking finale. Yeah, Eddie brother was a dick. That nigga was a straight asshole, bro. Fuck Eddie brother, bro.
From bricklaying to bazooki playing to chewing ice. According to Eddie, his brother was an expert at setting up traps and the ultimate prankster. He was the coolest guy in the whole wide world, and viewers spent seasons imagining what his legend of a brother looked like, and if he was everything Eddie made him out to be. In the 2009 series finale movie, Ed, and Eddie's Big Picture Show, the Eds are forced to leave their cul-de-sac after a scam goes horribly wrong. They decide to go on a road trip to find Eddie's brother, hoping that he will help them. They finally track him down at a coastal theme park called Mondo a Go-Go, and he looks exactly like an older, more menacing version of Eddie. He was at least a head taller than Eddie, wearing a dirty brown newsboy cap, a yellow sports jersey with the number 62 on it, red flannel jacket, and khaki pants with a wallet chain. He had a goatee and exactly 3 hairs sticking out from the back of his head, just like Eddie. For a second, it felt like everything Eddie had said about his brother was true. He looked cool, confident, and the type of guy who'd teach you everything you needed to know about being popular. But then he starts playing his sadistic games with Eddie, from twisting his leg to throwing him against the door of his trailer again and again like a basketball. The other kids managed to stop him somehow, but it was clear that the whole neighborhood had spent years in awe of someone who had been breaking his little brother down since childhood.
Dude, Eddie's brother is a real jerk.
What's he doing to my man?
And in the end, Eddie finally confesses the truth to his friends and admits that everything he had said about his brother was a lie that he made up to sound cool so that people would like him. In reality, his brother was a bully who abused and mistreated Eddie all his life. Fortunately, the other kids forgive Eddie and the Eds, and they leave the park together as friends.
Mr. Eddie's brother! As the older sibling, don't you think you should rather be setting an example for Eddie and not, belittle him in front of his friends?
Eddie's brother was one of those characters who haunt you because they are real, the kind of person who exists in every neighborhood. Ironically, his face reveal was the least important part. Fans didn't want to know what he looked like. They actually wanted to know whether he truly lived up to the hype, and well, the answer was no. If you guys like this video, be sure to subscribe and
Alrighty, man. That's just gonna about do it for this one, for sure. Yeah. All these face reveals and shit. I could have sworn Wizard Kelly's face was shown at one point, bro. It must be the Mandela effect. I remember seeing Wizard Kelly's face in full. I'm trying to think. Yeah, the rest of these for sure. The cow and chicken one, I never got that reference. I never thought that was their parents. I thought that was always I always thought that was just some random mannequins that they had up in there. Like, hey, yo, what these mannequins doing? Apparently they was mom and dad. Okay. But anyway, so I just gonna about do it for this one. I'll see y'all in the next video. Till then, deuces.